Agri-tech investments are on the rise because of just advances in technology kind of across the board, specifically in infrastructure. So a lot of the problem previously was that the data didn't exist to do these kinds of, or build these kinds of technology. So there's in-field technology that's sensing the crop and imaging the crop, and there's just kind of all of a sudden access to data and infrastructure and internet connectivity and that kind of thing. It's making it available, and as a result, it's allowing an industry that typically wasn't data-driven to sort of take advantage of this data and actually derive insights and value. And it's really leading to a boom in this space. So my partner James comes from a farming family, and he gave us a lot of the context in just managing and running commercial farms. Often the scale is massive, and as a result it's almost impossible to, or at least previously it was almost impossible to manage that crop and manage your business at scale and at a data-driven manner. So in terms of starting Aerobotics, we saw an opportunity in using this drone and aerial imagery specifically to help kind of scalably build solutions that allows farmers to farm by exception and only focus on the areas that matter, through taking all of the data analysis and that kind of technology and doing it behind the scenes and just providing insight in terms of specific trees and specific areas of the farm that need focus. And yeah, at the same time we saw an opportunity to come back to South Africa, specifically Cape Town, where we've got access to what we think is some of the best technology and engineers in the world, and also some of the best farmers in the world, and really build cutting-edge technology locally and export that around the world. At Aerobotics, we build a pest and disease management solution for farmers, and there's different aspects involved in this, and we've built technology around all of that. The first is in data collection, where we use aerial imagery, so drone or satellite imagery, to map out someone's farm, and then using machine learning and analytics, we turn that imagery into insights. So for example, in an apple orchard, we would map out the orchard, give you a bird's eye view of your crop, and we would convert that then into data by identifying individual trees, and tree by tree, tracking how it's doing in terms of health, canopy area and other metrics, and then highlighting which trees have problems. And this is all done through a web platform where farmers can log in and interact with this data. And the final piece that we're looking to work on is giving farmers the tools to actually action this data. Because it's all very well having these insights and having this data, but it's another thing actually having something to do about it. So we've also built a few pieces of technology on the scouting side, which lets a farmer take this data, walk into the orchard, identify exactly what the problem is, and prescribe treatment as a result. So that could be fertilization, it could be pesticide, or depending on the problem, there's obviously a different solution. So essentially what we're trying to do is build an end-to-end solution that lets farmers take this data, turn it into insights, action those insights, and in doing so, improve their yield and reduce their costs at the end of the season. So up in the west coast of the Western Cape, we worked on a citrus orchard of 4 hectares, and we mapped out that farm. We found disease in the crop. We found a number of trees that had disease, and some of the trees were actually dead. And as a result, the farmer was pumping costs into fertilizing those trees, irrigating them. It's obviously wasted resources, and they just weren't producing crop. And we found that we were able to save that farmer 51,000 Rand a year over a period extended of about 5 years, just in that 4-hectare orchard. We're just starting to do more of these case studies now, but it's kind of a longer term value in given how long a tree takes to grow and to actually produce fruit. The value is quite extensive. Rather than just finding a problem this season and doing something about it now, it's obviously going to improve your yield moving forward. And yeah, I think that case study kind of talks to it, and we're starting to do more of those now. But it's really the end-to-end solution that we're building, which lets the farmer action that data, walk into the farm and do something about it. And in doing that, it's the way that we've managed to get that far is in focusing really specifically on certain crops, understanding clear value adds and value propositions that we can offer, and trying to identify specific diseases, specific pests. And I think people often think that being niche is potentially a bit small-minded, but we've really thought that it's necessary in order to get to the depth of the problem that we can offer a solution that's really valuable to farmers.
I think it's getting the grower to understand the difference. What what this really can do for me. And being in agriculture ourselves and being in scouting and so on, and seeing how we as growers don't use it properly, and the power of this tool where you can actually proactively manage your crop. You can see things which the naked eye would only pick up in 2 years' time, or you can plan your chemical crop protection and spray what's actually needed, not spray for the fear factor. I mean, us as growers, we fear what's going to go wrong. You're an apple farmer, you're going to harvest once a year, you can't afford to let anything go wrong, so you blanket spray. Because we don't have all the tools to be able to do it differently. Now with this incredibly accurate data capturing, which is literally immediately available, you can plan a proper spray program, and you could say, well, that orchard has codling moth or that orchard has fusy, and spray accordingly, not just blanket spray your farm. Which means you'll immediately spray 30% less chemical, and also, as we all know, we don't want to eat chemical, we don't want chemical in the environment, it's not good for us. So besides the emotional thing about actually this is a great feel-good feeling, it's good for your pocket as well.